Speak of the devil. Somebody better call a priest to exorcise the swear words from our mouths and minds in this episode of Bewitched Banter. You have been warned. Content is not suitable for all listeners. Welcome. You're listening to Bewitched Banter.
I'm Krista, and I believe that people are inherently shitty.
And I'm Amy, and I tend to believe that people are naturally good.
But ironically, I'm a super believer in the supernatural and all things spiritual.
And I'm a total skeptic.
We're best friends, and in this podcast, we're seeking to explore and understand each other's perspectives, with deep dives into the spooky, the spiritual, the magical, and the mystical.
And some straight up spoofs.
Today, we are covering the devil himself. You want to cheers to getting spiritual?
Cheers to getting demonic.
Hell to the no. Nope.
I know, I'm mostly joking about that one.
Not in my home.
You're not going to invite the devil into your bedroom?
I mean, you got a nice So they say. No, I'm just playing. Fuck that. I don't want none of that.
I'm doing the cross right now.
None of that. Do you know how to do it?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, from all your forcible church-going days?
Well, it's the Son of the Father and the Holy Ghost and the Spirit.
Wrong.
Oh, what is it?
Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
I was close enough.
You were pretty close.
There was a Son and a Spirit. And
You were close, but did you go the right way? So it's head, heart, left shoulder, right shoulder.
No, I didn't go the right way.
Yeah. I'm being a bitch now. I don't care if you know it or not. But
bitch, you dumb. You're dumb.
So speaking of the devil, no pun intended there, I was actually going to ask you, I know we have some housekeeping, but I was going to ask you if you believe in evil or darkness or the so-called devil himself.
I mean, I believe in evil, obviously. Turn the news on.
Right.
But the devil? I mean, that's like the same thing. I think it's a fictionalized character that has been used throughout history to get people to behave in society.
Girl read my mind exactly on this whole segment, so we'll get into that a little more. But what you got for me? You got some news from last week, you said?
So in our last episode, I know we talked about Marie Laveau in our voodoo episode. And I had brought up the fact that there was a lot of mystery about where Princess Di was buried.
That's
Remember?
right. Yes. Okay, what's the verdict?
And I was definitely going off my high school memory, and I think I was 99% probably wrong.
Oh,
but I looked
bummer.
into it because I did want to update everyone because I do think it's interesting. So it's never formally been announced where she is buried. We do know that she was buried on an estate, and that's where I actually went in high school.
Okay.
And I couldn't remember.
That
So
makes
it's where
sense.
she grew up.
That makes sense.
And it's on like 13,000 acres of land. And she didn't want to be cremated. So usually all the royals, they bury them or their remains, like their ashes in the Burlington church.
I'm surprised they're allowed to even be cremated because they're pretty strict Catholic.
Yeah, but it's like in a vault. And so it was kind of like this debate of where to bury her. So no one actually knows, but the rumor is that, I remember this clearly, there's a big lake, and in the middle of the lake there's an island.
You did mention that.
Yeah.
So your memory was right there.
So it's been reported at least 4 people have tried to dig up her grave. So like truly messed up.
That's just like, that's so gross.
And the part of the reason I guess they didn't wanted to bury her on her estate where she grew up is so her sons could go visit her.
Oh.
And Prince Charles never actually ever went to visit her gravesite, supposedly.
Yeah, what a fucking douche.
But yeah, so that is, I want to clear up the air because I know I was talking about it and then I was like, I got to do a little bit of fact checking and I was wrong, but that is my little update from last episode. And I am excited to hear about the devil today.
Yeah, girl, I've got a lot going into this thing, but before I do, I got to update myself.
I already know what it is.
I know, but
you can tell the listeners.
I got a job, guys.
She's no longer unemployed.
I'm no longer sitting on my ass doing destructive things or the devil's work.
She's working for the devil now.
But I am actually working for the Sun Devils, so very excited about that. And got a new apartment yesterday. I'm on such another level of like I don't know. How do I say it? I'm just like,
You're making shit happen.
thanks, girl. Appreciate you. I'm proud of myself, actually. You know, right before I came over today, I was visiting my dear friend Abby, who lives very close to Amy and Corey, and she was like, I was telling her all the updates with the jobs and on top of my copywriting job, I'll be teaching public relations classes and a search engine optimization class. So I'm like super stoked and
That's awesome.
getting my life back together, I'd say.
Woo-hoo.
And looking forward to 2022. And I just hope and pray that it goes well for all of y'all out there as well.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I don't know every year I'm like, oh God, what is in store?
Yeah.
What does COVID have around the corner?
What is the devil plotting, as they say in many of the religions I will bring up. But yeah, I'm just stoked for what's to come.
It'll be good. I have a good feeling about it all.
Thanks, girl. All right, so going into this history, I know you brought it up when I asked you if you even believe in the devil, and I totally agree with you. I totally believe in evil. Just look at like whatever I point to when I think about good, bad, right, wrong, evil. I don't necessarily believe in the devil or a character or a entity, him or herself. I believe that I believe in energies, if you will, and that there's good and high vibrations and there's low vibrations, and some of them low vibrations really cause people to do really awful things.
Do you think, I also think a lot of things, like a lot of religions, were created to control society in a way too.
Oh, 100%.
Like if you do well or if you follow the rules, you'll be rewarded. And then the devil became this character of like, well, if you don't do good things, if you kill thy neighbor, then you're going to end up in hell with the devil.
Exactly. And that's totally aligned with that. I totally believe that as well. And I have a little bit of history on that. But I always find it so fascinating that like it was used as a control tool, almost like Elf on the Shelf, you know? Do you know that as a teacher?
Yeah, I saw someone. I never did that as a teacher, thank God.
So Teddy has one, and his name's Freddie. And, you know, the kids are supposed to name them. And Mila just got, these my niece and nephew. Mila just got hers. Her name's Frederica. Frederica.
I feel like Elf on the Shelf, though. I feel sorry for all the parents because they're like, why was this ever created?
But honestly, it worked for Teddy. I don't think it'll work on Mila. That girl's beautifully strong-minded and willed, but it definitely worked on little Ted, so.
Just as a reminder today, if you didn't tune in next week, me and Krista have changed the format of our podcast. We're trying it out. For Tuesday's episode, we're going to purely be doing like the history of how the devil was perceived or his story. I mean, Krista can tell you a little bit more.
I'm going to take it mostly from a biblical Christian lens, as that's what I know and I'm most familiar with, but I'll get into some other religions a little bit, but mostly from a biblical lens.
On Thursdays is when we're going to release our stories. So Tuesday, think history. Thursday, story. So we'll be breaking it up. It's kind of mixing it up where we can do that history part, and then we can really dive into our stories more. So just remember, Tuesday and Thursday, we're going to be releasing an episode. Pick and choose whichever you want to listen to, or listen to both.
All of the above.
The history.
Rate, review, and subscribe. Please,
yes.
We need your love and support now more than ever as we're growing. And, you know, it really does help. No BS. It really, really does. So please rate, review, and subscribe.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for listening. And the history really does like intertwine with our stories a lot, so it does give a lot of context. But anyway, Krista, as you were saying, I would love to hear more about the devil.
You got it. Again, I'm going to take it in the lens of good, right, wrong, evil, because that's how the devil, Satan, or Lucifer is often painted. And in all of Catholicism or Christianity, Judaism, and even Islam, the devil is thought to be the leader of greed, of the world's greed, evil, misfortune, darkness. And it's not just Christianity, as I said. It's as many other religions have a belief of some form or entity that is quote unquote evil.
Okay, so the devil is not just coined to Christianity. What other religions use the devil?
Yes. And again, he comes by different names and likenesses, and taken many forms over the years, from a winged angel with grotesque faces, or a goat with hooved feet, to a creature wielding a pitchfork, including our Sparky, Sparky the Sun Devil. I've got a little anecdote about him at the end to lighten this up, because it's gonna be a hard one, as usual.
My story actually on Thursday is not too dark.
Mine absolutely is. So thanks for you to bring some lightness.
Well, I say that, but on my normal standard, I don't think it's too dark.
Okay, well, that's positive. So thank you. Other common names for the devil across the Abrahamic religions, which collectively, by the way, Abrahamic religion are Catholicism, Judaism, and Islam. So I'm going to kind of bucket those three as the Abrahamic religions going.
Sorry, Islam, Judaism, and what's the third one?
Christianity.
Okay. And you're calling it what?
It's the Abrahamic religions.
Abrahamic religions. Okay, got it.
Other common names across those Abrahamic religions are Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub.
What is it?
Beelzebub.
Beelzebub?
Beelzebub. I've never heard that one. But
how do you spell it?
It's a B-E-E-L. No, sorry. B-E-E-L-Z-E-B-U-B.
Beelzebub.
Like Beetlejuice.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know how to say it, but
Mephistopheles, the Prince of Darkness, Lord of the Flies, which I had no idea that book was titled after the devil.
I didn't either.
Antichrist, Father of Lies, and Moloch.
Moloch?
M-O-L-O-C-H.
No, some of those I've never heard of.
Me neither. Like Moloch and Bezalabib.
I wonder if those are more from the Judaism, Islamic religions, because I wouldn't know.
No, Islam, it was...
or Jewish religions, I guess. I don't know.
What was it? It was like... It was a form of Satan. But I'll have to double check that. And then I believe Judaism is Satan as well. Although they don't believe in hell, and I'll get into that in just like a minute.
Interesting. I think I knew that.
Yeah, Jews don't believe in hell. Like us, we Catholics are forced to believe. So back to my question.
And you guys don't believe in birth control.
Oh, fucking A. You know, that's why my sister never joined the church. Shit, she knew when she was... God, since we were young, she's like, Well,
her sister's OBGYN, by the way.
Right, and it's her profession to help women get ourselves some birth control and our rights and agency. But listen to the Jingle Bells All the Way episode, and you'll hear more about that. But to go back to my original question to you, if you believe in the devil, I just want to say that I used to very much so because, again, I was raised Catholic and I had to go to CCD classes, which again, it was like Bible study after school.
Mm-hmm.
And I think back in the day, I did believe in the devil because I was taught to. But, you know, as I grew older and taught to question things, which I do on a regular basis, I see it almost exactly like you pictured it when we started this conversation. I think there's so many tragedies in this world and things that happened in our formative years, like 9/11. And oh my God, I'm going to get really emotional, so bear with me on this one. Newtown, which is almost, God, it's almost coming up on its anniversary in 2 days, December 14th.
Are you talking about Sandy?
Yeah, Sandy Hook.
Oh my God, so...
Yeah, Newtown
I saw a TikTok of a Sandy Hook survivor, and she was literally in high school.
Oh my God.
And that to me, and she was talking about...
Oh, I have chills because I knew these people. Oh my God.
She was talking about the trauma she had from being part of that school shooting. And I was like, that is insane. She's in high school and she's about to go to college and nothing has changed at all. And then you think about the fact that these school shootings happen. Yes, we hear the numbers of it's terrible that these people are passing away, but we don't even think to take the time to think about how many kids we are, like, I don't know how else to put it, fucking up and giving them trauma for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Going through these shootings. And just watching the video, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you still picture them as babies and then think they're in high school.
I have chills. Thank you for sharing that, Ames, because I remember I'm from Connecticut, for those who have not listened to the podcast yet, and I grew up in the town right next to Newtown or Sandy Hook. Those names are interchangeable for that town. And I remember vividly working at United Way at the time, and it was our holiday party, and we're in our little pod, the marketing pod we called it, and my coworker Aga, shout out girl, she was like, oh my gosh, we were all just getting ready to go to the holiday party, and she's like reading the news like we did on a regular basis. She's like, holy shit, there was a shooting in Connecticut, and I immediately dropped my shit. And I went over to her computer, and I was like, where? I need you to tell me what fucking city. My dad's a teacher. You need to tell me what fucking town this is happening in right now. And sorry, I'm getting so emotional about this because I'm just having flashbacks of it. Thankfully, it wasn't Danbury, which is my hometown, but unfortunately it was Newtown, which is the town right next door. And I knew people. I know people. I grew up with one of the teachers who was incredibly brave and barricaded her kids in her bathroom.
Wow.
I grew up with her, and she saved her kids. And so my point being is that if shit like that is happening in the world, yes, I believe in evil. And I'll never forget after it happened, X and I were crying in our bed because I think we're both pretty equally empaths.
I would say so,
And,
yeah. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
And we were crying as fuck, and we're just holding each other. And like from that day forward, I knew. And I remember saying to him out loud, I said, if we needed proof that evil existed in this world, here it is, when babies are being fucking massacred. And still, to your point, nothing has changed. And you know what? When nothing changed after Sandy Hook, I knew nothing ever would in this country. If that wasn't enough to get this country their shit together with gun laws, like, there's evil. That's evil to me. And
yeah, but I totally agree. But I feel like, unfortunately, it's like, I know I say even in our intro, I do tend to believe the majority of people are out there do try to do good things in the world, and most of us are coming from a place of care. And I just think there are those people out there who are evil and not right in the head and do these evil things. But I do overall think humanity, I know the pandemic has definitely made me have moments of questioning humanity, especially the little we asked of people to help comply to save lives. Definitely a moment of pause, but I do think overall humans, majority of us are coming from a good place. But there are obviously evil out there. And we can see events, and it's kind of, you have to think about a little bit about what you choose to pay attention to and what you choose to attract yourself to.
Sure, absolutely.
Who you surround yourself with, and that's kind of like the choice you can make in your daily life, and I think that's what you can do.
Absolutely.
And I was going to say, for Robin, you dropped a lot of F-bombs there.
Oh, my bad, Robin. That was, again, I told you last week, I said, if and when my emotions warrant it, and that was an absolute emotional warrant of using the F-bomb, so sorry about it. My dad taught at my high school, just like you were at Corey's, I believe. So anyway, it was really traumatic thinking that he could be a teacher in that situation. And God bless all the teachers and administrators and children who survived that. So I gotta move on because my body's like shaking. But my point was essentially that if all these bad things are happening, there's gotta be some evil in the world. And like you said, just turn on the news, which is why I do a news blackout. And that is my choice, even though I'm in the public relations profession, which I'm gonna have to get back on my news grind. But I have, throughout COVID, I just said, I can't do this. I cannot do this anymore.
Do you follow Upworthy on Instagram?
Yeah, I have. I used to get their daily emails, or their weekly emails all the time, and it was a really good source of positive news.
Yeah, so if anyone's looking, I just follow on Instagram, but it's kind of nice to once in a while to see a happy story.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it saved me back then, and great reminder to get back to it, because, man, this is some tough stuff. So I, again, just want to go back to, like, I don't think there's necessarily a devil entity or being, but I do.
Sorry, you make it sound like it's a corporation.
Hey, listen, maybe it is.
The devil corporation. Walmart, Target, the devil. Or we got a team of evil people.
That's not far off, frankly. But anything corporate that large, you got to have some type of evilness, I think, in the leadership. But anyway.
Speaking of the devil. Or speak of the demon.
Again, I don't think that it's necessarily, or he's necessarily an actual thing or being, but I really do believe exactly what you said. It's a way for humans to make sense of the chaos in the world and to serve as like a cautionary tale of what not to do. And frankly, like you said, to keep us in check and in line. So totally agree with you on that. So I know you obviously know that the devil is like evil. Everybody knows that. But do you have any idea of like the origin stories, at least from a biblical sense?
My best guess would be the Bible and Dante's Inferno.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I don't even know exactly what Dante's Inferno is, believe it or not.
You didn't read it in high school?
No. I mentioned Dante's Inferno later on as the poem, but I never was forced to read it, believe it or not.
It's an interesting, there's levels of hell.
Interesting.
So there's like gluttony would be one, which I'm I mean, I think we would be there
Oh,
for
listen,
sure.
what did we just eat? Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, we totally... Oh, I got my
Jesus.
booster shot. We had to take a break during recording because I had to go get my booster shot.
Yeah,
Woohoo!
woo, Amy's back.
And then Jersey Mike. So, yeah, I'd definitely be on the glutton level because I love all food. And I love to consume a lot. And then there's like one, I think, for greed, lying. I can't remember. There's 6 levels. I remember I had to do a project on.
Yeah, okay.
You have to choose your level of hell.
Okay.
Forgot what
That's
we
very
did, but-
interesting. I know I never had to read that. And I'm sure my Catholic CCD classes were trying to avoid it anyway for us to learn that because they wanted to teach us their scripture, right? So never read it. Back to my roots, the very minimalistic Catholic roots that I have. I'm going to take the devil's story back to creationism. And obviously I don't believe at all in the Bible story of creationism, which is essentially Adam and Eve. But there are 2 stories, including Adam and Eve, that I want to highlight relating the devil. The story of Lucifer goes like this, which, by the way, Lucifer means bearer of light, or as early Christians theorized, morning star. Isn't that weird? Mm-hmm.
It sounds like good things, like something how you describe Christ.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And heaven and light angels and all that. But luz, it makes sense if it comes from probably Latin, because luz in Spanish is light, and this is Lucifer with a C. So that makes sense as far as the etymology. But it's interesting that the prince or an angel of light then became the prince of darkness. But the story is that good old Lucifer fell from grace to earth when he defied God by trying to, I think, essentially be his own God and create his own, quote unquote empire. And so he fell to earth, or he was shoved to earth, and he's said to have the ability to possess bodies, causing torment, including illness and disease. And he also often guises himself as an angel of light, hence Lucifer.
Well, it reminds me so much of our witchcraft episode because basically that's what they said witches did.
Yeah, and actually I have a very small section in here at the very end about how they used Satan and the devil worship as an excuse to murder all those women in Salem. So,
well, yeah, I feel like the devil has a huge tie to witchcraft because we talked about how they thought the witches were almost like a medium for the devil to act out.
Exactly. Yep. And that's unfortunately what, as we know, they did in history. So he is thought to have quote unquote subordinates, or AKA as we know them, demons, who can control one's thoughts, actions, or attitudes.
So there's supposed to be plural? Demons?
Demons, yeah. There's many.
So the devil has a team of demons.
Mm-hmm. Minions, basically, that do his bidding.
That's interesting.
And there's several, and they actually have names in Christianity. I don't know what their names are.
I always assumed just one.
No, there's so many that are, I think, an allegory again. They represent different pieces of people's and humanity's darkness.
Kind of like the Greek gods. You have the god of love, but instead this
Venus, that's my girl.
Demon of greed. Demon of
or Athena. I don't remember. It's either Athena. I get Roman and Greek mixed up, but Athena and Venus. But
Athena would be Roman. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah, I always mix it up. But
Athens.
The Libra in me is ruled by the planet Venus.
I don't even know what you're saying.
Venus is my ruling planet.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, cool. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
exactly.
So Lucifer, again, can control, according to those who believe it, people's thoughts, attitudes, actions. And according to the book of Revelation, Satan will be chained for 1,000 years when Christ returns to earth. And then ultimately, he'll face his final defeat and be cast into eternal punishment. This is according to the Bible.
So 1,000 years has passed now, right?
No, well, no. So he won't be cast and chained for 1,000 years until Christ returns. God knows we're waiting for that to happen. Where you at?
Oh, okay.
Where you at, Jesus?
I didn't know what part of the Bible, if he had returned yet or not. I didn't know.
Jesus didn't come again yet.
Oh, we're all waiting. Okay.
We are all waiting.
Okay.
According to scripture. So
I'm just getting the memo now.
No, he hasn't returned. Armageddon did not happen yet, as so many people said it would in 2012, which is a whole nother.
Or 2000.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Y2K was a thing.
Yeah.
My mom worked for IBM for 30 years, and I remember them being so freaked out by the digitization and like how the clocks were gonna get all jacked up and
Yes, I remember all of that.
right. I still don't understand it from a technological perspective, frankly, but they said something with the digits would break all the systems we had in place.
I remember that. I remember that kind of. I don't remember the details, but I remember that kind of being like the main gist of what I got from it.
Oh yeah, like the world's gonna end on
Yeah.
1999. No, it didn't happen. I was running the streets naked, I think. Surprise, surprise.
In 6th grade?
Uh-huh. I was at a friend's little party, and we were raiding, of course, our parents' alcohol cabinet, and I think I drank Kahlua, some bullshit, like
Ooh,
liqueur.
that makes me want to have a stomachache.
Yeah,
instantly.
dude. So we're taking shots of Kahlua, and then like running the street naked. That was fun.
So I was in England.
Wow, that's
visiting
an
family.
awesome time to be there.
But I remember my Nana got so upset because she wasn't really listening to my cousin, and they had all these bottles, I think, of whiskey and I don't know what it was, laying out on the counter, and my cousin was like, "Hey, can we try a drink?" And I think my Nana took it as like, "Can we have a normal drink, not an alcoholic drink?"
Boy.
So my cousin pulled me in the kitchen. She was like, "Try this, try this, try this."
Lindsay?
And then Lindsay.
Hey, Lindsay.
And then later they were like, my Nana was like, "What the hell? You're not supposed to be drinking this stuff."
I love that.
I got drunk because every sip I would take, I'm like, "This is disgusting. Let me try the next one. Let me try the next one."
Oh my God, I love it. I think we all have a story like that. My sister did the same thing to me when we were in Cancun one summer. And I remember my parents went out one night, and so it was just the two of us in the villa. And there's a big ass Jose Cuervo bottle under the sink. And she's like, pulled it up, clunk, plopped it on the bar. And she says, "Look at this. You need to learn how to take a shot so you don't get made fun of in college or high school. Take a shot."
In high school? Yeah, because everyone's pros at taking shots in high school.
Listen, we know where that led me to in my life later. But so anyway, I remember taking just like one shot and feeling so drunk, and I remember like going outside and feeling like I was flying. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, mine was my first real drinking experience was like a high school tennis party.
Oh.
Yeah, and I remember taking a shot and feeling like I wanted to die.
What did you take a shot of?
Vodka.
Oh,
cheap vodka.
Was it the pop-up we talked about?
I don't know what it
Oh
was.
God, nothing's
I just
worse than shitty
remember
vodka.
all the tennis girls, my sister was there, and they're like, you drink this as quick as possible. And I remember it going down my throat, and I was like, what the hell is this shit?
This is disgusting. Oh man. Well, if only that stuck for us. Well, hey.
Yeah.
Back to Satan. The Greeks.
Oh, vodka is Satan.
Especially shitty vodka.
Yeah,
Let's be
get
clear.
that straight.
Because there are some actually really good ones out there, but
not the stuff you drink in high school, though.
God, no. Oh God, no. High school was even worse than college. Ugh, I can't even think about it. It grosses me out so bad. But the Greek word for Satan is Satanas, and it's used in the New Testament, but in translation, it then became Satan. So that's how we get the word Satan, just
Okay.
FYI. And again, back to this funny word, the Gospels use the name Bizlebul, and the Quran uses the proper name, to answer your Islam question, Shaitan.
Little shaitan.
He's
a little shaitan.
It's a little shite. It's spelled Shaitan, or Satan in English, as I said, but Shaitan? I'm butchering that in Arabic. I apologize.
You probably 99.9% are butchering it.
Yeah, 100. So sorry about that for anyone who speaks Arabic. Or hell, it could even be Farsi. Whatever language it is, I apologize. I am effing it up. Either way, though, all three Abrahamic religions see Satan as the catalyst, as again, for the fall of humankind. And he is seen as a serpent in the Garden of Eden. But as a side note, again, Jews actually don't even believe in hell. We share this, the Christians and Jews share the Old Testament as their biblical or as their sacred text. But Jewish people do not actually follow the New Testament. And they don't believe in hell because they don't accept Christ as the Savior, their Lord and Savior at all. So therefore, they don't follow the New Testament, which goes into hell a little bit. So that's the first creation story of Lucifer, if you will. Now, again, I don't mean to be like, what's the word, demeaning at all to you, but do you know the story of Adam and Eve, like, and how it goes? Okay.
So Eve was a bitch, ate an apple. Everyone's pissed off at her, and they're like, "You sin, women suck." Now there is sin all around the world, kind of just line. Oh, and she was like banished from God. I don't remember what was.
Okay, let me clarify. You're on the right track. You were on the right track.
All I know is women suck was the moral of the story,
pretty much.
and they're the ones that sin.
Exactly. You fucking nailed that. Essentially, what had happened was we got Lucifer being cast out of heaven. He then goes down to earth, and the Big Bang thing happens. Actually, in science, that shit actually happened. But according to Genesis, God created the world in 7 days. Anywho, Adam and Eve were created. They were the first humans, apparently. And
the snake told her not to eat the apple, and she ate the apple.
The snake tempted her. Correct,
yes.
Satan.
I remember the snake told her to eat the apple.
That's right. The serpent, who was Satan, guised as the snake, slithered through the garden. And there was these beautiful, lush groves and trees and fruits. And he said, with his slithering tongue, like, don't eat the apple.
And then she ate it.
And she ate it. And because of that, because she did what Satan told her to do, this is a really fucked up, I'm going to go on a feminist rant in a minute, but because of that, because of her, supposedly, humankind was damned because she ate this apple.
Yeah, like humans could sin from that point forward, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I kind of knew the premise of the story, yes.
Yeah, you nailed it as off the bat with, like, basically a way to control women from then on, and it still exists as we know to this day. Don't need to get into it, but of course they fucking blame women. Of course they can't take ownership of their own mankind flaws and arrogance. Of course not. No, it's the woman. Bullshit. Y'all better. No, I'm just like, nope. All right, let me stop, because because this thread runs through so many of the Abrahamic religions that obviously then came into our culture, and that's why we're still not equal.
Well, I think we discussed that last episode with the voodoo. Like, the voodoo was a matriarchal religion, where in contrast we have these other religions where they're not like that at all.
Right, and making women bad and
the
evil.
Very premise of the whole thing starts with Adam and Eve.
Yep, in biblical text anyway. So, yeah, good times. Thank God we don't live back then. We would have been...
I just wouldn't talk.
Couldn't not talk, So I'd be, like I said, in Salem, I burned at the stake for sure. So something else that I found in my research that I thought was like super interesting, and that it was really, really progressive for the Middle Ages. Because, as we know in that time, we're taught is like barbaric and cruel and dark. In what this research regarding early Christian writers at that time saw Satan as more of a discussion point and a symbol of the nature of evil. So even who's saying this? Early Christian writers. So likely monks in the Middle Ages. Okay. They were very highly educated people, right? They had nothing else to do except recite and reread and transcribe the scripture. And so they were very, very brilliant scholars, frankly. And so they had really in-depth conversations regarding the use of this dark figure and questioned it having anything to do with salvation or God at all. They even thought the existence of this dark figure was a direct contrast to an all-powerful, all-wise, and quote-unquote all-loving God. So they're like, wait a minute, if we believe in this God and our Savior who's supposed to be all-knowing and all-love, pure love, why would he create a devil?
I always thought the same thing a little bit. I know I'm very wise like a monk, but I also question that in the Christian religion, at least the churches I attended or the religions I know of, it was like you have to be saved to go to heaven. If you're not, you will spend your life or afterlife in hell being punished. And I was like, I thought Jesus and God was supposed to be the all-forgiving God. That doesn't sound very forgiving to me.
Yeah.
Seems very hypocritical. So I could totally get along with these monks. I was like on the same wavelength as them, I guess.
Yeah, I love it. And actually, I think I shared this in one of our episodes, but my mom was raised in Catholic school her whole life, including college. And she went to Fairfield University, which is a Jesuit university.
Where is that?
Fairfield University is in Connecticut.
Okay.
The monks or the Jesuit priests were so cool. They would often just like chill out with the people and like drink with them and
the students.
And like have these very similar in-depth conversations of questioning things. So they were pretty progressive too. Pretty cool people.
Very cool.
Just a random side note that I always remember my mom telling me about.
Does your mom ever go to church
Oh
anymore?
God, no. We only go with Vince and his family on Easter, when we're visiting on Sundays sometimes, and then Christmas
Okay.
and Christmas Eve. Or Christmas Eve. We don't do both.
I don't like to leave the house on Christmas. It's like PJs all day.
All day, every day.
I'm not leaving.
Wait. No, we'll probably do mass and then go to actually my brother and sister-in-law's with the twins. And yeah, that's what we do for Christmas. But I have to say, despite not being a quote-unquote good Catholic anymore, a practicing Catholic, I absolutely love the caroling and the choir.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful.
You know, there's something so, like, it could bring you to your knees. It's just so stunning. A little bit scary, honestly, sometimes in the Roman Catholic Church because it's so ornate and, like, oldie, worldly vibey, but it's still so beautiful. So I'm excited, actually, for that part of Mass, Christmas Mass. But so anyway, the music at Christmas time is just absolutely just, it's so moving, I would say, on that level. But back to these monks, even later in the 18th century, some more forward-thinking liberal Christian theologists even thought that any allegations or allegories or stories surrounding Satan shouldn't be taken literally, but more as you said, like a cautionary tale. And this is a brief quote from Encyclopedia.
It's kind of like karma.
Yeah,
Makes me think of,
yes, exactly.
it makes me think of karma. Like if you pay for your actions, and there's consequences.
Yep.
For your behavior.
Yep. And they said, quote, it's a mythological attempt to express the reality and the extent of evil in the universe, existing outside and apart from humanity, but profoundly influencing the human sphere, end quote. So again, we know that there's darkness in this world from my aforementioned rant, but it's not necessarily in the form of a being as the devil. It's just people do bad shit. Like I assert at the top of every episode, people are naturally bad and flawed, I think. And bringing it back to a little bit of other religions outside of the Abrahamic religions, who see the devil obviously as a literal thing or being, as I mentioned a little earlier, many other religions believe in at least some sort of evil being, whether it's the devil or not. They do believe that there is some force or some being in their belief system that is there to wreak havoc on earth against all and any good that could exist.
The Buddhist religion, I don't think they have anything like that, though. Do they?
Literally my next sentence. You always read my mind, girl. Every time. One example is in Buddhism, Mara, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Mara was said to be the demon that tried to tempt and steer Buddha off his path of enlightenment.
So that answers my question.
Yep. But ultimately, they tried to akin it to Jesus, that Buddha resisted and defeated, quote-unquote, Mara, whereas Jesus resisted the devil. So, again, it's an allegory to make us feel in control, like that we have any and all bullshit. We know we don't, I don't think, that we have any agency in the life or universe. But even for those who don't practice or follow any particular religion, Satan or the devil obviously is still seen with fear, punishment, negativity, immortality, bad things that happen. Even if you don't believe, he's got such a strong rep for being evil. So this idea that the devil is the quote-unquote king of hell likely does come from a poem by Dante Alighieri called The Divine Comedy, which is separate than Dante's Inferno, must be. Actually, that's homework for me. This was published in the early 14th century, this poem, and it depicts a massive hole in the center of the earth being created as a result of God banishing Lucifer to earth. And the poem also gives some references to some of the grotesque imagery that's like now associated with Satan. Mm-hmm. Some of them, they're pretty nasty. So some of them in the poem say he was a massive winged creature with 3 heads who was chewing on the flesh and faces of sinners, and that his wings brought cold winds throughout hell's domain, like freezing cold.
Probably a refreshing change.
You would find comedy in this. I
from
love
burning
it. I love it.
for eternity.
Oh God, that's nightmare. By the end of the Middle Ages, the devil had taken on the appearance of a horned, trident-wielding figure with a tail. And that has obviously stuck and endured in modern times, like, again, Sparky, our sun devil, which I'm going to give a little fun anecdote here very shortly. And finally, as we touched on, the devil is also associated largely with witches, specifically in puritanical Salem, Massachusetts, that we covered way back in like episode 2 or 3, where the Puritans blamed these women, again, blaming women, I can't even right now, for being forced or tempted by the devil to do quote unquote bad things, which, as we know, so many hundreds of women were innocently put to death in horrific ways.
Well, still are today.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they use the devil as a justification. And maybe some cultures today still do that.
They still do. They do. Remember I discussed in our episode that more women die from witch hunts today than they did during the medieval times?
Yes, you did say. That still blows my mind. Yeah, no, you know what? That's good you reminded me, because it's such a good thing to.
Yeah, I was like, I guess what I'm saying, it's not a thing of the past. It's still happening now.
Yeah, thank you, because it's sickening. Like, you can't justify that this mythological creature is your justification for murder. Like, no, that's not okay. Anyway, I'm gonna end on a happy note, like I said. Do you know the story of Sparky? Did they ever teach you that? Or tell you that?
No, I do not.
Oh, yay! So this is from some key points from AZ Central's Valley 101 podcast, produced by Maritza Dominguez, and a State Press article by Jeff Darge.
We should tell listeners who don't know who Sparky is.
Sure. Sparky is Arizona State University's mascot, and he is a cute little sun devil. And I'm going to get into the background of how this little guy was created. I love Sparky. And P.S., I'm going to share some college photos of me and Spark. We at football games, because he's real cute, I think. And you'll get into why, because he was created by, or I'll get into why, because he was created by a Disney animator named Burke Anthony, circa the 1940s. And so Sparky the Sun Devil is not a grotesque figure, as the Bible states, or other literatures state. He's a really cute little cartoon guy, and he does wield a pitchfork. However, the mystery behind this is from a lot of this was unraveled, by the way, by ASU's resident historian named Robert Spindler. And he says that we got the logo, the Sun Devil, because prior to Sparky, we were known as the Bulldogs. But the booster organization, basically the funding organization of ASU at the time, said Bulldogs are way too common across universities. We're going to get confused. No one is going to donate to us, and they're going to think that they're donating to Georgia, who to this day are the Bulldogs. Well,
the Sun Devil makes so much more sense for Arizona.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you have to do something kind of geographical to go. I mean, I feel like the desert, not everyone lives in the desert.
Yeah, and also, so the Sun Devil, if for those of you who don't know, is actually a weather phenomena where basically it's like dust, like little dust tornadoes. And so that's what a Sun Devil is referring to. And like Amy said, it's totally geographical and refers to where we live. And so then it was the inspiration for the name actually came from supposedly a track coach at the time who was running on Tempe Town Lake and saw a Sun Devil, the dust devil essentially. And he brought up that name to the funding organization, the Sun Angels at the time, and said, hey, let's shoot for a Sun Devil. Turns out that one of the boosters actually knew Burke Anthony, who was the prior Walt Disney animator.
Okay, very cool.
And he then commissioned Burke Anthony to craft Sparky as a logo, and not originally as a mascot, But as we know, the logo then transformed into Sparky, the mascot. So we don't know for sure if Sparky was absolutely made in the likeness of Disney or not. But I'm going to go on record here and say I think hell yes, pun intended, because if you just look at Sparky's face, he look a hell of a lot like Disney.
He does, actually.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I study that face when you're on campus. And I'm telling you, it's Disney. But that is the story of the devil and Satan and just...
Satan himself.
Satan himself. I really think that, again, it's just made to control people, to your point. But also as a way for humans to just rationalize all the crazy darkness that happens in the world. We have no other explanation for it than to create stories sometimes. And
yeah, I think also sometimes like this obsession people have with true crime and like hearing it, it's like almost like people are so fascinated because they can't imagine ever doing the things like these horrible actions, these murderers, rapists, serial killers take amongst people. And so like we have this morbid fascination about people being evil, but it's like we can't even comprehend how someone could be like that. So I could see like the devil kind of being an explanation. Yeah, I know like as humans we're always searching for explanation, and sometimes there's just isn't an explanation. Yeah, sometimes it's just effing chaos out there, and that's what it is. But I do, like I said, I do believe in energy and dark energy. And actually, as a matter of fact, last night I went to a really cool thing I didn't tell you about. It was a meditation session about energy healing, and it was pretty incredible. So energy for sure is a thing, and I think there's, like I said, dark energy sometimes that maybe people interpret as the devil. So interesting. Very cool, though. Anyway, thank you. That's a wrap. So, yeah, listen on Thursday. I am so excited. I have to just give a little teaser. Mine involves explosions. Oh. The devil. Rockets, sex, magic. It's got all the good components. So, rockets listen in. Yes, please. Mine has to do not at all similar, but mine's dark, as I said. Go figure. But it does have to do with the devil made me do it. Ooh, I'm very curious and I can't wait to hear. But tune in on Thursday. Again, thank you so much for listening. Please give us feedback. We'd love to hear from you all. And we hope you enjoyed if you want to send us a topic idea, please do. And visit our Patreon at patreonbewitchedbanter.com. And also email us at bewitchedbanter@gmail.com. Yes, and that is a wrap on the devil. Hope you enjoyed. And peace, bewitches! Peace. Thanks for listening. Please rate and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Check us out on Instagram or bewitchedbanter.com. Suggestions for the show? Email us at bewitchedbanter@gmail.com. Credits, music, Phantom Fun by Jonathan Boyle from premiumbeat.com. Podcast edited and produced by Krista Hinz and Amy Holt.